been about a month since I've posted the first devlog for Just Keep Walking, but there is something that I didn't tell you. I lost my job in the gaming industry in January, and since then, amongst other collaborations, I've been working on this little project. From the first prototype, from reshaping the core concept, to finding its identity and working on the core gameplay. I was motivated to work on something I'm really passionate about, and even though it's not my only occupation, we are getting along pretty well. Now, whether you are interested in my story or just hearing about the game, just know that I'm not alone in this. We will update you on the people and processes behind Just Keep Walking. If you want to follow along with this journey, come to our Discord. We are friendly. Last time you saw the project, it was a simple prototype. A character was running, some choices existed. Levels, they were corridors made of a plane and some grey boxes, basically. As much as a prototype is very important in the context of making a game, it's a bit of a problem for a narrative game that's supposed to be about a person making choices. I know everything in my head, but for you, the audience, because there is no idea of the final character and the world, there really is nothing to care about, maybe. The entire idea of Just Keep Walking is built on a simple premise. Your choices matter because they belong to someone that is going to be impacted both psychologically and in the game world. For those who are new, Just Keep Walking is a short narrative adventure where you play as a survivor trying to reach the border of a quarantine zone. And among zombies, you navigate levels with light platforming to make important narrative choices, to shape your past, your present, and your future, and to arrive to multiple different endings. So we need some fully built levels, but we also needed a character. So with more development ahead, I still wanted to start chasing the feeling of a narrative journey. And in the next devlogs, we're going to learn how we're going to do that. But let's take one step at a time. At the time, the plan for March was to get a few things done, namely have a better character in the game, update its animations, and start finishing the core systems of the game. But due to the job situation, I actually had to move. This is not the main topic of today's devlog, but I actually started working more seriously on Just Keep Walking when I was laid off from my previous game dev job as a level designer in a AA company. For some time, I struggled in one of the most expensive cities in Italy, but some months after, I had to move. So, as you may expect, I did not exactly got a lot of things done during my moving period. Also, if you saw the previous devlog, you know that I'm not exactly a character artist. The only fun aspect of me trying to modify a character or rig something is the quality and quantity of memes that I can produce afterwards with the footage of my failures. Well, as I told you before, I'm not alone anymore. But before moving on into understanding who is the protagonist and who is making it, I'm actually thinking, have you subscribed? It's completely free for you, but it helps us a lot. Thank you very much. The main character of this game has no name and no particular introduction other than the fact that if they don't move out of the city, a massive horde of zombies will come for the last piece of flesh they find. So the protagonist of this game is very ironically like me after the layoffs. A clueless person running away for their lives in a strenuous and somehow courageous attempt to save themselves from a reality that will crush them, while at the same time not knowing exactly the direction they are going in. Jokes aside, for some of you this narrative could be familiar, and that's because it's a common story. It's not a post-apocalyptic story, it's a story of common panic and the constant feeling that you are fucking behind. I will fully cover the narrative in another devlog, try not to spoil the story but giving more context to some design choices and behind the scenes. At the time, it was the moment to make a placeholder for our protagonist. Something that, if refined later, could be the figure for a walk in the apocalypse. But as I told you, even though I'm learning a bit of 3D art, I'm no character artist. You see, I might be the only one you've ever heard from, the one who runs the TikTok account, and the one who started Just Keep Walking in her free time. But I don't have my name on the channel. Brain Void is actually a collective that started with the help and support of a fellow game designer, Eduardo. But actually, again, today we're not really talking about him, he's busy with something else. Introducing Alessandro, our beginner and yet Chad low poly character artist.
Hi everyone, my name is Alex and I'm already working as a 3D fashion designer. Usually I create digital clothes, outfit and fashion projects. So character design was actually something pretty new for me. Honestly, I thought the hardest part would be the clothes, but no. The really nightmare was the body. Creating the character body took me around 3 days because I wanted it to look believable, balanced, and natural. And the funny part is the clothes only took me a few hours. The shoes took me about 1 day, which honestly felt normal compared to the body. Science fashion is already my field. Work on the outfit felt more instinctive for me. But building an actual character from zero was completely different experience. You're not thinking about the style anymore. You also have to think about anatomy, proportion, personality, and how the character feels visually. At the beginning, I used some existing model as an inspiration and references, mainly to understand the workflow better. But my real goal was to create as much as possible on my own. I want this project to challenge me technically and creatively, and also to prove to myself that I could build a full character, not only the fashion part. I think that was what I enjoyed the most about the experience. It pushed me outside of my comfort zone. Sometimes it was frustrating, especially during the body modeling process. But at the same time, it was really satisfying to see the final results slowly come together piece by piece. And in the end, it made me realize how much I actually enjoy character design, especially when I can mix it with fashion and storytelling. So I want to thank you about Alessia to give me this opportunity.
When I gave Alessandro the references for the character, I wanted them to be a person rather than necessarily a man, even though the figure came out a little bit masculine, and we will work on it in the future if we want to keep it this way. But basically, the only requirement for this character, in my creative vision, so to speak, was for them to be without ultra-specific characterization. So, of course, they are going to have key elements and a main color palette that distinguish them from the environment. But at the same time, I didn't want them to be ultra-sophisticated. I wanted them to look like a simple person surviving the apocalypse with just a few ragged clothes on them, and maybe in the future some bag and some more elements. But the main idea was to keep it simple, not only for the production aspect, but also for the narrative aspect. We want a lot of people to identify with this person when they go along the journey with them, so we want them to be as common as possible. Also because the key narrative element is not really the character in itself, but the choices that you make for them. A personal dream of mine would also be to have a little bit of customization where you can change the hairstyle and the colors at the start of the game. That's just a little nice to have for now. If you have a favorite shirt color or hairstyle though that you would like to see in the game, let us know in the comments. Alessandro comes from the world of 3D fashion design and actually he started to learn Blender just a few months ago, focusing on characters. As someone that started learning myself, I think the rate of learning and dedication of this man is very impressive, and so are his early results. The character will be definitely polished and tweaked in appearance, details, and rigging. For example, I would like for them to have some more depth in the clothes, but most importantly, right now it's a bit weird seeing the player working around these environments with no way of keeping resources. It would make a lot more sense for them to have some sort of bag that they travel with. We're working on it. These elements will come with time and polishing, but as of right now, actually I was not expecting to have a custom character ready for the project this soon. In the first devlog, choices were already in place, but now they needed a purpose. In my game design plan, the narrative unfolds with some specific branching levels, but also with player reactions to events. Since you are urged to arrive at the end of the quarantine zone, you walk and run through these levels to avoid hordes of zombies and make sensitive choices. But at the end of each level, you rest. You have to pass the night in a safe zone. And this allows us as designers to create narrative moments. Moments where the player reflects on their past decisions, or something unexpected happens, and you have to make some other choices until the next day comes. But this is a story for another time. Subscribe or come to our Discord server to hear when it drops. Thank you for watching, and remember, just keep walking.